Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video of My Creative Life with Kel Sweetie, where we make art and we read books. Today we are doing a holiday book haul. This is basically a haul of books that I've gotten over the Christmas holiday, essentially, basically between December and now. These are all the books that I have accumulated between the Barnes & Noble hardcover sale, extra points that I had on my Barnes & Noble card from other purchases that I had made, things that I've thrifted, a book that I got for Christmas, some books that I got at a indie bookshop just recently while my mom was visiting. Like, it's a lot. And I am going to be doing my reorg and unhaul video that I do yearly for my bookshelf after this, which I anticipate is going to be a 2-day thing. I think I'm going to get started tonight and then finish tomorrow. So that'll be a lot. But I am excited about a lot of the things that I've gotten, and a lot of these are things for next month. We'll talk a little bit about that very, very light, about the challenge for next month, as well as I'm already reading one of them, and I've already finished another. So I knew that I needed to get this going now because I couldn't wait much longer. I was gonna have like half of these read by the time I got around to doing a haul. So yeah, let's get into it. If you also saw my last video, I spoke on where I was currently at right now with the LA fires. Luckily and thankfully, I am still safe, but I am going to include places for you to donate or volunteer down in the description box so that you can help in any way possible. The fires are still burning as I'm recording this, and it is not lost on me that I am thankful enough to even still be able to sit here and do a video like this. I am literally working and making content to keep myself from my mind running so much. So thank you so much to those who were just so sweet and just nice and empathetic and have checked in. I'm very, very thankful for the community that I've started to build here, and for the people who are just luckily very empathetic. So thank you very much. Please go and check that out in my description. If you are able to, please, please, please donate in any way that you can. It goes a very long way, and I'm positive that anybody who is to receive any of those donations would be extremely, extremely thankful for it. So I wanted to preface this video with that. That's not to really keep it on a downer, but more so just being very conscious of the space that we're living in right now. So let's get into it, y'all. Thank you very much for coming to the channel. I cannot wait to share some new books with you. So I went ham at the Barnes & Noble hardcover sale. Let's just get a good look at this real quick. Look at this. I can't, that's so much. It's just so much. And you may be going, Kelsey, did you hit the lotto? And no, I want to really tell you about this story because I'm what my partner calls a Maxxinista. If you've ever shopped at TJ Maxx and heard the commercials on the overhead, they talk about Maxxinistas, and that is the ongoing joke, is that I'm a Maxxinista. I divide and conquer when it comes to coupons, gift cards, sales, discounts, wherever. That's how I can afford anything you've ever seen me buy on this channel, because I am a maximalist, and that is the only way that you can afford to do that. My beautiful, beautiful partner got me a book, which I'll be showing in a moment, but more importantly, he got me a $110 gift card to Barnes & Noble during their annual hardcover sale. That is where he messed up. And his brother gave me a $50 gift card in conjunction to that. So I had $160 out the gate, because we all knew that's where I was going to spend that money. Like, I was not going to spend that $50 gift card anywhere else but at a bookstore. So we knew that. And I made the most of it. I have realized this is how Barnes & Noble tries to get you. You go in there for the hardcover sale, because the online hardcover sale is like, it's what they've chosen from you. So it's like, there's some of these are from the hardcover online sale, just because I saw some things that I knew that I wanted. But the best bang for your buck when it comes to that sale is to go in the store, because it's all of the hardcovers that are there. So you have so much more selection. And that's what I did. I went to the biggest Barnes & Noble in LA, which, if you're ever wondering, it is at the Grove, because I felt like I had the best chances by going there. But here is where Barnes & Noble gets you. They bring you into the store with the hardcover sale. And then they go, look at this paperback. Isn't this a nice paperback? You've been looking to read this paperback that's not on sale. And you're buying things anyways. Just throw it in the cart. No. Don't do that. Keep your eyes on the prize. Only buy hardcovers. It's going to be hard because you're going to see all these other books and you're like, oh, but I'm buying. Like, I might as well buy. No, that's what they want you to do. The hardcover sale is just to bring you into the store. Here's another thing I noticed. I went to the Grove, which is 3 levels of books. Ask me how many hardcovers were in the store. They literally take a lot of those hardcovers off the shelves and still curate their hardcover collection, so that if you are in there looking for a certain book and you're like, oh, do they have this? Do they have the hardcover? No, they only have the paperback. Do you want the paperback? No, because it's not on sale. I saw far too many people who got snagged on that. And I almost did it too, until I noticed in my shopping cart I had a lot of paperbacks, and I'm like, those aren't on sale. I need to quit. I need to only be going for half off hardcovers. Next year, you have a game plan now. Do not buy things that are not on sale. They want you to do that. Beat them at their own game. Okay, so as we say all of that, I only put hardcovers in my basket. I want to say there were 11 books in my basket. I pull up to the register. The lady's great. She's chatty. You meet some booksellers and you're like, oh, this job was literally made for you. She's ringing me up. She's ringing me up. She's ringing me up. I go, I'm getting triple points, right? Because I'm a premium member. She goes, yes, you are. That's the other thing. One, if you are a book reader, sign up. I say this so much whenever Barnes comes up in these videos. Please sign up for the premium membership if you are always shopping for books at Barnes. It really will save you so much money. It's like $45 for the year, and what you make back in points far precedes that. Like, you'll make that back within 2 months if you're a book buyer. You get 10% off any purchase, period. No matter what. On sale, not on sale, doesn't matter. You're getting 10% off. No matter what. So you're making that back. You get to stack up your stamps. For every $10, for every $10 you spend, you make $5 back. No, for every $10 you spend, you get a stamp. It's either 10 or it's 5, I don't know, but you get a stamp. And once you get 10 stamps, I feel like I should look this up because I'm giving bad information. Okay, you earn 1 stamp for every $10 you spend on a purchase. After 10 stamps, you win a $5 reward. That is what it is. Sorry, y'all. That is the premium membership. And you may be sitting there and you're like, so you're getting half of your money back every time. Like, you're like, that doesn't equal out because you only got $5 and you had to spend $100 to even get those $5. Here's the thing. Books go for, on a paperback, $15. You're spending at least, I think the cheapest paperback I've ever seen was $13 in this economy? Maybe. You're gonna get there pretty quickly. Books aren't cheap. This isn't a cheap hobby. So, and you win. There's so many times throughout the rest of the year for you to win. I say win. Triple points if you're a premium member. Triple stamps. So I bought all of these, which this came out to before I started to do all the Maxinista stuff on it, 200 and something bucks. That all of that goes towards my stamps. And I had more stamps, which allowed me to buy another book that you're going to see me talk about. And I still have money left on my card. See, and it just pours. If you start off your year with it, it pours into itself the rest of the year, is the point that I'm making. If you're a book buyer, you buy a lot from Barnes, just Get the premium membership. She goes, oh, it's going to be 200 and some change. I said, bet. Here's a gift card. That's $100, $110. Swipe it. She goes, okay, that's, I don't know, math. I'm not good at it. So it's the number. I go, ha, don't worry about it. Here's another gift card. That's $50. She swipes it. And then she goes, oh my gosh, you're walking out of here only spending $20 today. And not only that, but I got, once I it was 2 days later, because they have a waiting period for their stamps. It was 2 days later or so, and altogether I had $30 in rewards from my stamps because I got triple stamps. Point is, we made out like thieves on the hardcover sale. Okay, so we're gonna go through the haul now that my story time is over. And I'm reading this currently, so I'm we'll start here. I got American Rapture by CJ Lead. She's the author of Mayfly, which took the horror community by storm last year. I'm saying a couple of years, but it was last year. Is that one about the princess, the Disney princess, who's living in Hollywood or LA, and she's super unhinged and everything, and she's licking an eyeball on the cover or something. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. I was afraid to read it because everybody was it's extreme horror or something along those lines, and I was just kind of I don't know if I want to read that. Also, there was no point in my year that I was oh, let me fit this in. So this is the book club pick for the Sweethearts Book Club. If you are part of the Patreon, if you were following me on Instagram, you know that I made some changes to my Patreon this year. I took out a lot of the tiers, and right now we only have the Simply Sweeties, which is just extra content, at $3 a month. And then there's the Sweethearts Book Club, which is basically you're a part of our online book club. You get goodies and rewards in the mail and all of that. We're also, the Sweethearts Book Club is on Fable, so you can follow over there to be a part of the book club and talk more about it. I have a Discord now so that we can talk more, not just about our book club books and everything, but also whatever you're reading, whatever horror or weird lit that you're reading right now, thrillers, it's all over there. So that'll be all in the description box. There's a lot of things happening right now, and I'm gifting 6 months of the book club tier on my Patreon right now for free. So for 6 months, you'll get all rewards and all access and all of that. This came out last year, and a lot of people I've heard a lot of different things regarding this novel. I somehow got the signed edition because this was the Barnes & Noble signed edition, which is cool. I'm liking it, but not in a way that I usually like it. So essentially, the apocalypse is happening, and it's about a outbreak that's happened that essentially it turns you into a sexual zombie. I've gotten to the point where it kind of explains more about what it is, and you turn to a non-thinking sexual zombie entirely. Now, our main character, Sophie, she's Catholic, kind of growing up in a very she's growing up in Wisconsin, so it's Midwest, and it's very, I know Sophie. I grew up with a lot of Sophies. Parents are strictly religious to the point where it's almost nearing culty, completely protecting her from absolutely everything. Her brother has been, I don't want to share too much about that because I feel like it's necessary for you to kind of move throughout the book. But just know there's a lot of religious rhetoric that is very recognizable as somebody who has grown up in the Bible Belt. She is kind of the only survivor of her family and is out here in the world now, having not known anything, trying to survive through this epidemic that's happening. Trigger warning, there are many situations of sexual assault, of course, based on, the sickness that it is, attempted rape, foreshadowing of rape, just a lot of that. So if that is oh, I can't do that type of thing for you, then I wouldn't really recommend this book to you. For me, I've found that extreme horror, where I draw the line, isn't really the blood and guts and all of that. It has to do with anything like sexual trauma. Super, super tense, uncomfortable, sick to my stomach type of thing. Tell me that a girl is sewing up her legs to be more like a mermaid because she believes she's a mermaid. Fine. Whatever. But tell me that somebody is experiencing a near rape situation or an actual sexual abuse assault. Oh no, I can't do it. So this has been kind of hard for me to read when I get to those portions. However, I feel like the way the CJ Lead has written this, I'm able to move through the book enough where it's not simply like trauma for trauma's sake. But also, let's get into this cover. Amazing cover still. Like, let's give it up for Christine Foltzer and Carly Janine Mazer. Did an amazing job here coming out of Nightfire. I am so happy that this was the edition that was available at my Barnes because I've been wanting to read this for a while. And there are a couple of editions of this cover, and I didn't want the other edition that was out there. And so when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, I didn't know that this was even available in a hardcover form. And it's like, oh, I like, if you look at the way that it's kind of done, like, novellas don't usually get hardcovers. It's because, like, why would we spend the money? But somehow they approve this, and let's get into another cover. Oh my gosh. The way that it looks like a fairy tale book. Like, I really hope that I love this book because it would hurt too much to donate it. Which, when I'm about to start this unhaul and reorg of my bookshelf, there's going to be some hard decisions that are going to have to be made from books that I didn't like from last year. I'm just so excited to read this. Like, I've been wanting to read it for a while. It's a novella, Woodworm. Sorry, did I mention the title? Woodworm by Layla Martinez. I believe they're Argentinian, but it's a haunted house telling. A girl and her grandmother are in a home that's been basically cursed by the daughter's father somehow. Like, he didn't curse it, but it was cursed by somebody because he was like this hustler or whatever, and they were like trying to get back on him, and he ends up, I think, deserting them, and they're the ones who are left in the house and dealing with the hauntings that are happening in that house. Love it. Love the idea. Love it entirely. We love generational conversations regarding femmes, and I feel like I'm hoping that I love this. I'm probably going to read it either come March for Women's History Month, or I'll have to wait until September to read it probably for Hispanic Heritage Month, but we'll see. It's a novella, so I'm not too pressed about it. I have to also see if there's an audiobook for it. As we all know, that really is important for if I'm going to be able to read a novel, and when I'm going to be able to read a novel. So very, very excited for this one. And I still can't believe I got this. I am so excited that this was at my Barnes, and that was The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. This, of course, everyone heard about this last year. Everyone was reading this last year. I can't wait to read this come May for Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. I'm so excited. I heard this is like so queer, so femme, so unhinged, rage femme. I absolutely am so excited to read this. I've just heard like about what it's about, and basically that's some teenage girl whose parents are going through a divorce, hates her mom's new boyfriend, and basically starts dreaming about eating eyeballs, and slowly descends into becoming a serial killer who eats eyeballs. I think that's the like TLDR version of it. I love a young woman unraveling, because I am constantly unraveling and picking up the pieces. So I'm excited. Absolutely love. Now that I'm a baby book designer, I'm like, look at this, look at the soft touch and the spot gloss. Like, this is by Erewhon Books. I wonder if this is like, if Erewhon the grocery store has a publishing. So this one y'all had voted during my Sweet Reads Awards to get. So a couple of these on here actually were winners for my Sweet Reads Awards. So thanks again to y'all who voted. I really love doing that, and I can't wait to do it again at the end of this year. And that's Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. I haven't heard as much as I was hoping to hear about this book. I saw it everywhere. Like, I saw that it was out, but I didn't hear a lot of reviews on it. So this will definitely be a June read. Let's read again the synopsis on this one. But finally, after years of trying to make it, Misha knows that chasing success in Hollywood can be hell. But finally, after years of trying to make it big, his big moment is here. An Oscar nomination, and the executives at the studio for his long-running streaming series know just the thing to kick his career to the next level. Kill off the gay characters for The Algorithm in the upcoming season finale. He refuses, but soon realizes that he's just put a target on his back. And what's worse, monsters from his horror movie days are stalking him and his friends through the hills above Los Angeles. Haunted by his past, Misha must risk his entire future before the silver screen horrors find a way to bury him for good. I don't really have any expectations for this, because the synopsis the synopsis tells you what it's about, but it doesn't tell you enough of what it's really about, which I'm not mad at, because once I start reading it, I feel like I won't just already have these preconceived like notions of what this is going to be about. So I'm excited about it. Y'all voted for it. Y'all said to read it. I'm going to read it. Next on my haul is one that I've not heard anything about. No one recommended it to me. I literally picked it up because it looks so amazing and the story seems interesting. And that's Pedro and Marcus Take Stock. Look at this cover. Like, come on, glare it out. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous cover. This is from Astra House. This cover is just, again, Francis Di Giovanni. And the illustration is by Alan Barry's Rees. So, again, shout out your designers, because this is gorgeous. I mean, even the back, sometimes people just completely go, just put quotes on it, put a box around it. That's it. The spine, this is what I'm talking about. You're storing your books like this. Let's not forget the spine. Never forget the spine, guys. Absolutely gorgeous. I picked this up. I said, this is an amazing looking book. I want this on my shelves. And then I read the story on it and I said, yep, that's enough for me to buy it. I'm going to read it, but it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. In the favelas of Porto Alegre, Brazil, marijuana is hard to come by. Supermarket stock clerks Pedro and Marcus spend their days unloading trucks, restocking shelves, and dreaming of a better life, of breaking the cycle of poverty that has afflicted their families and their community. Well acquainted with the drug dealers in their neighborhood and seeing an opportunity to earn a little extra cash, they decide to start a weed dealing operation. The economic hierarchies of Porto Alegre are turned upside down as almost accidentally the two men build a thriving enterprise and get rich quickly. Distribution grows from dime bags to kilos, and Pedro and Marcus begin to plan for a future where low-wage work will never again be a necessity for them and their families. All too soon, however, their operation starts attracting outsider attention, and cracks in their carefully crafted and seemingly untouchable world begin to show, culminating in one final lethal showdown. A witty, voice-driven, and electrifying portrait of poverty and an uncanny examination of the ethics of drug dealing and low-wage labor in the underbelly of Brazil, Pedro and Marcus Take Stock is a contemporary picturesque I have to find out how to pronounce this word. Novel of class and crime. Hold on a minute. Let's figure out how to pronounce this word, because I've been thinking that it said picturesque. Hold on.
Picaresque.
Okay, one more time.
Picaresque.
Picaresque. Relating to an episodic style of fiction dealing with the adventures of a rough and dishonest but appealing hero. I love a rough and dishonest but appealing hero. So here we are. Apparently Jose Falero lives in Porto Alegre, Brazil. So that's amazing. And this is translated. Oh, this is translated. I love that. I love that. I love this cover. I love everything this book has to offer, and I hope that I end up loving it once I read it. Come September. It'll be September. I'll be reading this in September, but I'm really excited for this one. And it even has a quote from the author of City of God, which, if you did not know, it's an indie Brazilian movie that's honestly very, very disheartening and sad, but beautiful in its sadness. It was originally a book, so that's great. That's a really big MO, like a really big like cosign. So excited to read this one. As y'all know, I have tried to read Slewfoot. I have not finished Slewfoot. And I think it's not because of the writing. And I've tried to make this very clear because I feel like so many people are going to be like, Kelsey, like you just don't like good writing, is what you're telling me. Because so many people love Slewfoot. And it's not because of the writing. The writing's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's boring because it's literally about 18th century witches. And I have learned that I really don't care. Every time they start talking about savages, and I want to go, at the people who say it, it's just very white. It is. And I'm sorry to say that because we make space for all walks of life in this corner of the internet. We do. I just have to be honest in the fact that like I'm hearing about it and I'm just kind of like, okay, like this is fine. But I'm not invested. And you know what? When I was reading Magic Lessons, the prequel to whatchamacallit, Practical Magic, I was bored out of my mind. And I think it's again because I don't really care about 18th century anything that has to do with settlers. They like I don't care. Y'all took y'all basically were fresh off of taking the land from like indigenous folks, so I really don't care. And the dialogue that happens between all of y'all is just going want for me because of my political like feelings towards that entire era. I want to like that book, and like the actual story that's going on isn't interesting enough. One, I'm just not, and a lot of people have told me if you get far enough into the book, like it really gets unhinged near like the last 50 pages. And I'm kind of like, okay, I want to read it for that. The artwork is gorgeous. I just don't think that it's the story for me considering who I am. That being said, I picked up The Evil in Me by Brahm, and mainly because I feel like the subject matter is more extremely more aligned with things that I'm more interested in. This has to do with a rock band, a punk rock like rocker, and she ends up I guess putting on some ring while helping out her neighbor, and it has like I guess she's unlocked like the demons to like chase after her and her getting possessed or something along those lines, and essentially she has to have some seance that happens in order for her to be like exorcised from these demons while she's being chased by them. I think that there's a situation of like they're demons, but they're like vampiric demons of some sort, and it takes place in Atlanta, the Atlanta rock scene. That is all interesting to me. I'm interested in all of that, and I'm interested. Look at this cover. Like, that's amazing. Brahm has written Krampus and Slewfoot, and I think a couple of others. And a lot of his work is usually a lot of muted tones. And it's so fun to see him working in this color palette that focuses so heavily on the very psychedelic type of, oh, like these are just absolutely gorgeous. These images are just really great, and it's just a huge step from his other work that I'm just in love with. Again, another Nightfire novel. Just Nightfire kills it with their covers, man. Like again, just absolutely gorgeous. And the fact that Brahm did the art and design of the jacket is impressive to say the least. I'm excited for this. Again, because I think I really do like his writing. It was the subject matter in Slewfoot that just wasn't it for me. And this is 80s, which I'm obsessed with. What I'm hoping is that what I was wanting from Grady Hendrix, We Sold Our Souls, I'll get out of this. And that's me actually caring. I read We Sold Our Souls last year, and I usually love a Grady Hendrix novel. That one is probably the one that's felt the most short for me, and that's more so because I just didn't care about the characters. It will probably end up being April when I read this. But I'm excited. Next is another, this one didn't win my Sweet Reads Awards voting, but it is something that I wanted to read, and I saw it available, so we're getting to it, and that's Dearest by Jackie Walters. It's mother horror. So y'all knew I was gonna pick this up. I didn't care like what y'all voted for. I was going to pick this up. Also, again, we get into it, get into this cover. Gorgeous. Absolutely love it. This is Mulholland Books, Little Brown Publishing. Okay, I'm going to read it for you, but it's mother horror, so I already know this is going to be a layup for me. A new mom in need of help opens the door to her long-estranged mother, only to invite something much darker inside. You've got me. I want 14 of those. I don't want to know what's in it. Just wrap it up. Flora is a new mom enamored of her baby girl Iris, who has arrived a few weeks early, but with her husband still deployed, Flora must navigate the newborn stage alone. As the sleepless nights pass in their half-empty home, the edges of her reality begin to blur. Household items seem to move on their own accord, and Flora is certain someone is talking to Iris through the baby monitor. Just as Flora becomes convinced she is losing her mind, a surprising guest shows up to help. Flora's own mother, to whom she hasn't spoken to in years. Will caring for the baby help them to mend their fraught relationship and start anew? Or is there more that Flora's mother isn't telling her about the events that led to their estrangement? As stranger and scarier events unfold, Flora begins to fear that her mother's secrets have allowed something truly evil to enter her home. She must decide, is her hold on reality slipping dangerously away? Or is she in fact the only thing standing between a terrifying visitor and her baby? Generational feminine trauma? Motherhood? Haunting? Give me 100 of those, because I'm going to read them every single time. The mother trope will never not be my favorite genre, followed by generational trauma. So I can't wait to read this. It will be probably March once I get to it. Devils Kill Devils by Johnny Compton. Again, another Nightfire book. Let's look at that. Oh my god, that cover is amazing. And even look at the back. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. If you don't know Johnny Compton, he's the author of Spite House, which you've probably seen recommended 5 million times, and you'll probably see it recommended 5 million more in this upcoming February. He is known for that book. It's a haunted house telling everything. I've not read it yet, personally, and I wanted to read this before I picked that one up, just because this has to do more with demons and all of that, and I felt like I was going to be more attracted to that storyline than Spite House, and I'm super excited to read this one. I'll be just a little sneak peek. This will be on my TBR come February for my I Love Black Horror Month reading challenge, and this will be fulfilling my monster trope that I always love. I have like 4 different categories. You will hear all about it in an upcoming video for the intro of the book challenge. So stick around and subscribe if you're not, to hear more about that. But it's pretty straightforward what this one's about, but I'm gonna read the synopsis for you. Sarita has been watched over by a guardian angel her entire life. She calls him Angelo and keeps him a secret, but some secrets won't stay hidden. When Angelo murders someone she loves, Sarita begins to see what horrors have really been lurking in the shadows surrounding her, and she will have to embrace the evil within if she hopes to make it out alive. I'm excited to kind of see where this goes. Tananarive Due, if you have not heard of her, I don't know, you're not reading Black Horror. But she said that it's a high-octane follow-up that starts with a bang and never lets up. We love that. But I'm excited to get into this and read it, especially if it's something that's really high-octane. I find that I've just been reading a lot of slower moving books, in my opinion, and it'd be nice to kind of have something that moves, you know? But excited to get to read that come next month. Sky Full of Elephants, another great cover. This was actually recommended to me by my mom. And it's a Simon & Schuster book, which is crazy. Yeah, my mom read this. And she's the one who recommended it to me, and then all of a sudden I started seeing everybody who had been reading it. She said it was amazing until the end. And I think she's like, I still recommend you read it, but just know that like at the end you're going to be disappointed on the way that it ends. So that's already kept in mind. So I'm already probably looking at a 4 for this at the very most. And again, there was another Tananarive Due cosign for this one as well. In a world without white people, what does it mean to be Black? This is why I'm reading the synopsis. One day, a cataclysmic, see, I gotta just say it fast, event occurs. All of the white people in America walk into the nearest body of water. A year later, Charlie Brunton is a black man living in an entirely new world. Having served time in prison after a wrongful conviction, he's now a professor of electric and solar power systems at Howard University when he receives a call from someone he wasn't even sure existed, his daughter, Sydney, a 19-year-old left behind by her white mother and stepfamily. Traumatized by the event and terrified of the outside world, Sydney has spent a year in isolation in Wisconsin. Desperate for help, she turns to the father she never knew, a man she always resented. Sydney and Charlie meet for the first time as they embark on a journey across a truly post-racial America in search of answers. But neither of them is prepared for this new world and how they see themselves in it. Heading south toward what is now called the Kingdom of Alabama, everything Charlie and Sydney thought they knew about themselves and the world will be turned upside down. Brimming with heart and humor, Sibo Campbell's astonishing debut novel is about the power of community and connection, healing, and self-actualization. It's a reckoning with what it is meant to be Black in America, and both Charlie's world and ours. So I'm excited for this. I read some of the Goodreads reviews by people who were white, and they were like, this made me uncomfortable. And from the people who got it, they were like, but it was supposed to be. It was supposed to make me uncomfortable and upset at what was happening, because unfortunately, there's a lot of truth in that. So we love that. We love making people uncomfortable with their truths. And I'm really excited to read this, regardless of the fact that I've been kind of forewarned on how the ending ends up going. Again, let's give it up for the cover, everybody. Again, who did this one? Jacket design and illustration by Tyler Comrie. This is gorgeous. I just have to say. It would make sense for me to read it during February, but I already have a TBR already figured out for that, and this didn't fit exactly into horror. This is more, it feels more weird lit, science fiction-y. I'll probably get to it come April. That'll be my first like free month after this month that we're in right now. This was another one. I'm trying to think if, I don't think that y'all voted for this one for my Sweet Reads Awards, but it was in the running, and that is The Other Valley by Scott Alexander Howard. This is an Atria book, which is crazy because we're working on a new cover for this right now. Look at me having inside information. But I really love this cover. So absolutely gorgeous. And who worked on this one? Because I probably worked with them. Oh, they're no longer with us at work, but it's Leiwan Kwan. Look at that. That felt good. That felt real nice. This one is also a sci-fi novel, and it's really interesting. I'm really excited to start reading this one. Here it is. To the east is the future, to the west is the past. If you were permitted to cross the valley borders, which direction would you go? 16-year-old Odell vies for a coveted seat on the Council. If she earns the position, she'll decide who may cross her town's heavily guarded borders. To the east, the same town is 20 years ahead in time. To the west, it's 20 years behind. The towns repeat in an endless sequence across the wilderness. When Odile recognizes two visitors she wasn't supposed to see, she realizes that the parents of her friend Edme have been escorted across the border from the future on a morning tour to view their son while he's still alive in Odell's presence. Edme, who is brilliant, funny, and the only person to truly know Odile, is about to die. Sworn to secrecy in order to preserve the timeline, Odile now becomes the consul's top candidate. Yet she finds herself drawing closer to the doomed boy, imperiling her entire future. So I think that this is really, it's exciting, but it could move into this idea of more like romance, which I hope it doesn't. Because like the idea of where it kind of sits in this like past and future and everything, I think it's something that's really interesting, and I would rather explore that than explore like the story about these two people falling in love before like he's inevitably going to die. Who knows when I'll get to this one, but here it is. This is the last book on my official I went into the store and bought from the hardcover sale. And then we have these over here. We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kilwer. There you go. I'm excited to get to this one. Of course, so many people read this at the end of last year, and there were mixed reviews on it. However, in all those reviews, the main thing that was referenced is that if you like House of Leaves, you'll probably like this. And I love House of Leaves, so I should probably like this. It's about a queer couple who move into a house. Basically, a family comes up off the street. Father knocks on the door and goes, "Hey, I used to live here." can we come inside? And there's only one person from the couple there. She goes, yeah, sure, because she's people pleasing. They're like, we just want to see, like, I want to show my kids where I grew up and everything. And they start walking through there. The partner, like, comes home and she's like, yo, what are these people doing in our house? And her partner is kind of sitting there like, so they, like, used to live here. And so they just wanted to kind of see the house. And I let them in. And her partner is going to be like, why would you do that? She's like, because I'm a people pleaser. This is what I do. They'll leave soon. They don't end up leaving soon. And weird things start to happen in this house that I'm pretty sure is just like haunted and weird. And the family is wearing out their welcome extremely. And what kind of happens from there? So I'm excited because I do like house horror, but like house horror on like weird things are happening here and the house is haunted and but like in this very other dimensional type of way, and that's what I think is going to happen here. But we will see. Okay, there are 2 books that I got online from the hardcover book sale. So let's get through those real quick. First and foremost is Ghost Roots by Pimi Aguda. This is a Norton published book. Let's again get into this amazing cover. I'd be lying if I said that I didn't fall in love with wanting to read this book based off of just seeing the cover. It would be a lie. It would be a lie. Look at the cover. Tell me that you wouldn't as well want to read this book just based off of how amazing this cover is, you know? And that is all because Dave Bidier and Sarah Mae Wilkinson banded together to make the art and the jacket design for this wonderful book. So thank you to both of them for their service. Because I absolutely love it. And I hope that I end up falling in love with this book so that I can keep it on my shelf. No, we do not have something special under the cover, but you know, I had to look. I will say though, this is definitely different for the jacket paper. So very, very exciting. I'm going to read the synopsis. These are a collection of short stories. So I'm looking forward to possibly reading this during next month. But I don't think it's on my official, like, reading list because I just have so much already to read. And we already know that I average around 5 books a month. So in this beguiling collection of 12 imaginative stories set in Lagos, Nigeria, Pemi Aguda dramatizes, yep, that's the word, the tension between our yearning to be individuals and the ways we are haunted by what came before. In Manifest, a woman sees the ghost of her abusive mother in her daughter's face. Shortly after, the daughter is overtaken by wicked and destructive impulses. In Breast Milk, a wife forgives her husband for his infidelity. Months later, when she is unable to produce milk for her newborn, she blames herself for failing to uphold her mother's feminist values and doubts her fitness for motherhood. And Things Boys Do, a trio of fathers finds something unnatural and unnerving about their infant sons. As their lives rapidly fall to pieces, they begin to fear that their sons are the cause of their troubles. And in 24 Alihaji William Street, a teenage boy lives in the shadow of a mysterious disease that's killing the boys on his street. These and other stories in Ghost Roots map emotional and physical worlds that lay bare the forces of family, myth, tradition, gender, and modernity in Nigerian society. Powered by a deep empathy and glinting with humor, they announce a major new literary talent. All of those seem so exciting to me. I cannot wait to read them. And one thing that I've learned is I know that I've said this so many times, but I loved reading Little Rot last year. There is something very kind of learning more about those communities, that there is something underlying, a darkness underlying those communities that is very at odds with who it is and how it is to be Black in America. And I think that it's really great that a lot of Nigerian horror is starting to come out because it's really just a different tone altogether of Black horror. And it's exciting to kind of hear and see and learn more about those like societies and those social structures and how at odds they are for being a Black American. So very excited to read this. Can't wait to get to it. It also has a Toronto review. Toronto review be given quotes no matter what. So very excited to get into this. Who knows? It may be next month. It may become March, but I do think that it's going to be earlier in the year that I get around to reading this. And next, which is an actual, it's going to be on my TBR for February and for the I Love Black Horror Month TBR, is Womb City. People have been talking about this since last February, and I cannot wait to get around to reading it. It feels like a sci-fi horror type of situation filled with ghosts and just a new world and all of that. And so I'm really, really excited to get to this come February. It's a thickum. So is there concern? Yes, because I don't usually read books this thick, but we're gonna power through, and I can't wait to get into it. And also, again, just wonderful cover, wonderful, wonderful cover. This is another Erewhon book. If you don't know, if you don't remember, The Eyes Are the Best Part was an Erewhon published novel. The cover art is by Colin Verdi, and the cover design is by Samira Iravani. So shout out to both of them. And I did not know this, but the author Tlosho Tsosmase is seems to be non-binary and goes by Zer pronouns. So that's dope. Didn't realize that. Here is the synopsis. An adrenaline-packed, cyberpunk, body-hopping, African futurist ghost story exploring motherhood, memory, and a woman's right to her own body. Love it. Love it already. Nayla seems to have it all. Fame, wealth, and a long-awaited daughter growing in a government lab. But trapped in a loveless marriage and monitored by microchip, her perfect life is precarious. After an eerie car accident, Nayla commits a desperate crime and buries the body, daring to hope that she can keep one last secret. The truth claws its way into Nella's life from the grave. As the ghost of her victim haunts down the people Nella holds dear, Nella must unravel the political conspiracy her victim was on the verge of exposing, or risk losing everyone. In this nail-biting debut, acclaimed short fiction writer Tlotlo Tsosmase brings searing intelligence and Botswana's cultural sensibility to the devastatingly timely question, how far must a woman go to bring the whole system crashing down? Love, love, love it. And again, just off of what I was just saying about Ghost Roots, it is so great to see so many African horror and sci-fi just really getting the shine that it deserves. I saw a lot of people mentioning this book last year. Unfortunately, I did not see as many people reviewing it. So I'm hoping that in this upcoming month, we're going to see some more people who are actually picking this book up and reading it, because I really can't wait to get to this come next month. That is my Barnes & Noble hardcover sale haul. Like overall, all the books that I got during that time. Those two that I just talked about, those were bought online, and they were bought with some of my stamps and everything. I've also, I think that I bought Johnny Appleseed, was another book that I bought, but I didn't feel like I needed to talk about that because I had already read Johnny Appleseed and everything, and I was kind of backtracking just so that I had it in my library. Now let's get into some of the books that I was either gifted, I thrifted, or bought at an indie bookstore over the last about month or so. The next two books I picked up at Stories here in LA. It's in the Echo Park area, and it's been around forever, but it's a indie bookstore. They sell used books, they sell a lot of memoirs and a lot of educational books, some literary fiction here and there, but if you're looking for something interesting historically or wise or anything, I recommend you to go to Stories. They have a cafe in the back, and so they're really interesting. I hadn't been in there, but I had heard so much about it. They've been around for so long, and I finally had a chance to walk in there, and I fell in love with some books. And I bought my mom a book, and I bought me 2 books. So one of those was one that I was not really looking for originally, but once I saw it, I was just kind of like, oh, I have to buy that. And one thing that I really want to do this year is I do want to make a better effort to read memoirs. So during one of the free months that I have, I really, really want to chip away at the memoirs. I have some, and I want to read them. There's far too many fiction books that I want to read more, so this is going to be read this year. I know that for a fact because I read The High Desert by James Spooner, and I absolutely loved it, and he edited this novel as well, and it's something that I'm very, very much interested in, and that's Black people in punk rock community. So this is Black Punk Now. It's edited by James Spooner and Chris L. Terry. And I'm really excited to read this. I mean, again, this is an amazing cover. Absolutely, absolutely love it. And it really talks about the past, the present, the future of Black punk music, and interviews so many people within the community, which was something that I was really interested in as well. It's got fiction, so it's got stories within it, nonfiction, interviews, and it also has comics from like the High Desert, which James Spooner has created. You can see some of those right here. And all the pictures that are included from even like interviews and everything are all illustrated by Spooner, which is just, it's just so dope. I just can't wait to read this, and I feel like there's not going to be an audio for it, which is fine. I feel like this is something to kind of chip away at over time, to be honest. And possibly even, I'm not going to set myself up that I'm not going to read this next month. There's going to be far too much other things for me to read. But I am really excited to just read this. Like, this little quote from Honey Child Coleman interview. My first punk show was RuPaul's band at Peppermint Lounge. Like, that's amazing. That's just iconic. What an iconic quote, to be honest. So I'm super excited to start to read this and see where it goes and to learn more. I absolutely loved reading the High Desert and learning more about the experience of being a part of the Black punk scene. That was one of my pickups, as well as Reservoir Bitches. And this is a translated novel by a Mexican author, Dalia de la Sierra. This was created by the Feminist Press, which is really dope. And I saw this recently, and then I'd seen it in the store, and I was like, oh, I'll pick it up now, because I know for a fact that this is like a smaller published book. So I'm excited to get into this. It's a collection. I think it's a collection of short stories. No, it's not a collection of short stories, but it is a novella, and it has to do, again, with unhinged women, which I absolutely love. So I'll probably be getting into this come September, to be honest. Life's a bitch. That's why you gotta rattle her cage, even if she's foaming at the mouth. And the 13 link stories, okay, so it is short stories, sorry. 13 link stories of Reservoir Bitches, Mexican women prod the bitch that is life and become her. From the all-powerful daughter of a cartel boss to a victim of trans femicide, from a household of spinster seamstresses to a socialite who supports her politician husband by faking indigenous roots. These women spit on their own reduction and invent new ways to endure, telling their own stories in bold, unapologetic voices. At once a work of dark humor and social critique, Reservoir Bitches is a raucous, wrenching debut from one of Mexico's most thrilling new writers. So I absolutely love this. I plan on reading it in September, but depending on how March shapes up, I may even read it in March. I absolutely love that type of little bit. I just love that synopsis, and I'm always looking for more of an anthology or short story collection to get into month to month, since I'm bringing back the reading sprints, our monthly reading sprints. I know I fell off of them and I miss them, so I'm bringing those back. This was a novel that I picked up when I just had some extra stamps before, like right before the holidays. Like, this was picked up during Thanksgiving, and I had nowhere else to kind of put it, so I thought I'd throw it in here. That's Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellors. This is completely different than what I usually read. It is not a horror. It is literary fiction through and through, and it's not even, in my opinion, weird lit. It's just life lit. But I heard a lot of good things about it, and I've already finished it. It was my first read of 2025. I hate all the people in here. All the people in here are extremely selfish and self-entitled and represent a lot of like just fake knowledge, fake like I'm very knowledgeable but I'm fun type of thing. All of the people in here are completely and utterly self-conscious and have no self-confidence whatsoever, yet are some of the most egotistical people in the world, which makes me hate all of them, to be honest. Even the most like empathetic out of everyone in the entire novel, which is a character called Santiago. But you can't even love him because he's so naive in his sympathy and empathy that he expects all of these people to have it and has no sympathy or empathy for himself at all. So it's just, I don't know. I hate Frankenstein. Both of these people are in a relationship. It has to do with basically the entirety of their relationship and the people surrounding them. Yeah, that's basically the synopsis. You'll hear more about it during my January wrap up come February. But the characters of color in here are very one dimensional in my opinion. Like, you couldn't tell that they probably were people of color unless you only know that because they say it, kind of thing. And I think that there's more to writing a character of color than that. And considering that the author is a white woman, it just very much falls short. Like, you kind of just made them people of color rather than researching and actually hearing what that voice would be. There's a good chance that this may just end up getting donated, which is unfortunate just because, you know, I spent money on the book, but there you are. I was gifted by my wonderful partner, Hellbent by Lee Bardugo. He got me this exclusive Barnes & Noble edition that has these sprayed black edges and everything. I know that a lot of people have mentioned, like, issues with Lee Bardugo for many different things. And I'm kind of still on the fence about her as a person. I also know that a lot of people have some issues with Ninth House, which was her hit novel that she wrote, mainly for a lot of the sexual things that are in it and a lot of the sexual trauma and abuse that's in it. Some people have even said, I don't feel like this is a good representation of people who have drug issues or any of these things. And there's no trigger warnings in the book, which I do agree trigger warnings are necessary for the book, because when things started happening, I was a little bit shocked. Not necessarily in the drug usage, because that is said in the synopsis, but the sexual trauma and sexual abuse that's done in the book, there's no reference to that in any of the synopsis, and there's no trigger warning, which I think was a downfall for the book personally. As far as the actual novel and plot is concerned, I don't like fantasy. And that was a dark enough, horrific enough fantasy that I was like, oh, I actually really like this. Like, I blew through it and I loved it. And it was crazy. It was like one of my first reads of last year. I know that some people are going to go, why? Why did you love it? It's so not. I loved it. I did. So Hellbent is the next novel in that series. As y'all know, I'm not a series girl. I usually don't read series, but I did want to read what happens next. Unfortunately, I've heard a lot of people say it's not as good as the first one. So we will see, but I do plan on reading this still. I just know that I have some people who've already told me, just prepare yourself, it's not as good. Finally, some thrifted novels. I've really gotten into thrifting books. One, because it's just more affordable, and luckily a lot of people are unhauling their bookshelves. So if you are somebody who is looking to also buy more books but you're on a budget, definitely check out your thrift stores right now, as a lot of people are doing their top of the year unhauls and clearing out their bookshelves for the rest of the year, like I am. You're gonna find you're bound to find some really great novels that are in really good condition because people just bought them and then they ended up not liking them and they ended up getting rid of them. I found another Clive Barker novel. I picked up Cold Heart Canyon, I want to say in November, and I found another Clive Barker while I was up in the Bay with some family, and that is The Thief of Always. Now, this one has drawings in it, which is very interesting, and I absolutely love, as well as this one is a little bit more of like a novella length. It's like under like 251, but it's like larger. You can't see that because of the glare. Larger text, so I don't feel like this is going to be that long. For some reason, this was at an elementary school, so I think that this is supposed to be like YA horror. And so that's exciting because I'm like, Clive Barker is the same person who wrote Hellraisers. So what is he doing writing anything for children? Mr. Hood's holiday house has stood for 1,000 years, welcoming countless children into its embrace. It is a place of miracles where every childhood whim may be satisfied. There's a price to be paid, of course, but young Harvey Swick, bored with his life and beguiled by Mr. Hood's wonders, does not stop to consider the consequences. It is only when the house shows its darker face, when Harvey discovers the pitiful creatures that dwell in its shadows, that he comes to doubt Mr. Hood's philanthropy. But the house and its mysterious architect are not about to release their captive without a battle. Mr. Hood has ambitions for his new guest, for Harvey's soul burns brighter than any he has encountered in 10 centuries. That is one thrifted novel. I took the thing off of it, but I think it was like $2-3. And then I also picked up White Oleander by Janet Fitch. I've watched this movie. Movie's heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. And for a very long time, I wanted to read the novel when I found out it was a novel. So when I found this at the store, and it was a gorgeous vintage cover of it all, I was just kind of like, well, I need to pick that up. And it was really cheap. So I ended up getting White Oleander. I plan on reading it this month. And surprisingly enough, somehow the audiobook is only like 7 hours, even though it's like this thick. And the text isn't really that small. So we will see. We'll see if it's just as heartbreaking. Astrid is the only child of a single mother, Ingrid, a brilliant, obsessed poet who wields her luminous beauty to intimidate and manipulate men. Astrid worships her mother and cherishes their private world full of ritual and mystery, but their ideal is shattered when Astrid's mother falls apart over a lover. Deranged by rejection, Ingrid murders the man and is sentenced to life in prison. White Oleander is the unforgettable story of Astrid's journey through a series of foster homes and her efforts to find a place for herself in impossible circumstances. Each home is its own universe with a new set of laws and lessons to be learned. With determination and humor, Astrid confronts the challenges of loneliness and poverty and strives to learn who a motherless child in an indifferent world can become. Tough, irrepressible, funny, and warm, Astrid is one of the most indelible characters in recent fiction. White Oleander is an unforgettable story of mothers and daughters, burgeoning sexuality, the redemptive powers of art, and the unstoppable force of the emergent self. Written with exquisite beauty and grace, this is a compelling debut by an author poised to join the ranks of today's most gifted novelists. I really love the movie, and it's definitely one of those early 2000s girl in a really tough situation type of novel. It was originally written in 1999 at the turn of the century. So is that what it is? Is that turn of the century? 1999? Y2K. But I am excited to get into this book, and I'm also really excited to have this cover. Our last novel is one that I picked up recently, and it's a little bit of a tidbit of what is next month's book pick for the Sweethearts Book Club, and that is Flowers from the Void from Gianni Washington. It's a short story collection, and I have 13 tales. Super excited to get into this. I'll get into more information about why it'll be really special for the book club this upcoming month, but I am super excited to read this. It is her debut. 13 dark tales are told through the lens of Black, female, and queer narrators. Love it. Among others, which burrow deep into the heart of the Gothic to challenge the conventional nightmare. Flowers from the Void unburies a haunted labyrinth of chilling alternate realities eerily similar to our own. A high school freshman is lured into a sinister pact with a classmate that will cost him more than he could ever imagine. A grieving African witch prepares for initiation into a 17th century Salem coven of white women. A girl with no shadow befriends one. Empathy and horrors collide to create a grimy discomfort that will never quite wash off. Otherworldly creatures, malevolent acts, and devastation consume these pages as Gianni Washington resurrects the skeletons in her closets and commands them to run amok with a new zest for the macabre. Super love it. It's put out by Clash Books, so it's an indie publisher, and I cannot wait to get into it. I cannot wait to read it, and I will tell you why I'm really excited to get into it for the challenge for this upcoming month in an upcoming video. So make sure you subscribe if you are not, so you can learn more about that. But I can't wait to read it. I really hope that it leads up to the expectations I have for it. That is the entire haul. I'm the book stack that's sitting next to me right now, like this is the book stack. Hold on. It's sitting right next to me. It's sitting right next to me. I have no regrets. Very, very excited to get through these this year. A lot of these were already on my TBR, which is why I bought them. But there's a lot of new ones that I found while I was out. And I just feel like I've not read one synopsis that I was like, nah, that doesn't sound good at all. Like, I don't know why I'm even picking that up. Like, this was a fluke. You shouldn't have picked that up. Like, going through them all right now, again, I'm just like, no notes. No notes. And considering I'm already off to a pretty good start for the year in my reading, since, well, Cleopatra and Frankenstein wasn't amazing, but it was addicting. Like, it made me want to keep on reading it. But American Rapture has been great so far in its own way. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I have a January TBR video coming out soon, and I at least feel like the TBR is strong. And considering how December ended, I feel like that wrap up is also going to be interesting because my reads were also good from what I can remember. Like, it's been a while, so I have to go through all that again. But I'm excited to get to all of these. I'm excited to finally put them in my shelf. I needed to do this video before I did my reorg because I didn't want to take them out if by the time that I started thinking of where to put everything. Thank y'all for watching me ramble for probably by the time that this is all over, I'm hoping an hour only about all the books that I found. I hope that there's some books in here that you kind of found and put on your TBRs, or if you've got some stamps saved up from doing the hardcover sale that now you're like, okay, now I gotta go spend some of those stamps on those books that she mentioned. And I hope that this was really good for you. Please subscribe, and also please take the time to look at any of those links down below regarding donations and ways to help for the LA fires that are happening right now. It'd be, once again, a humongous help. I, again, cannot say enough how thankful I am to even sit here and be able to do a video like this, considering the state of the city right now, considering there's a great possibility that, you know, that could have changed in an instant these last couple of days, and honestly until the fires are out can change in any moment. So please do look in those in the description below. I will see y'all in the next one, which I am not certain what it's going to be because we're batch filming. But I'll see you in the next one. Thanks y'all for watching. Bye.